Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Chilling Neigh Podcast. I'm your host, Rushil, aka PokemonVGC. I'm joined by my co-hosts, SableVGC and Tommy Hayden. What is up, guys?
What is up indeed? You actually got your name right this week. Things are off to a flaming
That's
start.
right.
Here we go, guys. Welcome on in. Super excited for this episode.
What's up? Oh my god, I'm so excited too. I'm so excited too. Yeah, this is gonna be a fun one.
This is gonna be a fun one. We have a regional to talk about, another regional coming up, and a big grassroots event. So, a lot to cover. So let's dive on in. So we just had Peoria regionals this past weekend, and huge congratulations to one of the best players in VGC history, James Beck, for winning his fourth regional, I believe.
Yep.
Shout out
Um,
Staten Island.
yep, and he won it with a Water Ogre Pond Balance team against Luca in the finals. It was two really good teams, two different Ogre Pond forms, and we have a pretty stacked top eight here
Mm-hmm.
actually. With Riley Factura, the Pittsburgh regional champion in there, TSL Tang, Leonard Kraft. So a lot of heavy hitters came swinging at Peoria. So want to first get your thoughts on top eight teams, kind of the winning teams, and what you guys took away from Peoria.
I'd start with Leonard Kraft's team because that was incredible. Watching his game on stream, I was loosely watching it at a local while skipping my friend's birthday party. But no, I'm being serious. Leonard Kraft's team is so freaking cool. That Dusclops weakness policy Ursaluna mode
Mm-hmm.
with the hyper voice and the earth power weakness policy boosted. Because my one thing about the Ursaluna Blood Moon was I wish they gave it a signature special ground move. Instead of a signature
Special
special
normal
normal
move.
move. I guess hitting the ghost is really cool, but at the same time, being able to have all these cool, like this cool ability, this cool signature normal move, hyper voice access, stab hyper voice access, but your best ground move is earth power, kind of felt like, but he made it work.
It's
And
crazy.
everything that the normal does, what's up?
So no, I'm saying it's crazy that like back in the day, like when I started playing, it was like, yo, Earth Power is such a sick move. It's such a good move. And now it's like your best normal move, your best ground move is Earth Power. Ew.
Ugh. Yeah, no, I stick my tongue out and say yuck.
But for
And
those of you, sorry, Tommy, really quick, for those of you that do not know the team, it is Ogre Pond Water, Dusclops, Lander, Therian, Iron Hands, TU, and Ursaluna. Blood Moon. Continue.
I didn't even know the rest of the team. I was just watching the stream game, watching Dusclops, Ursaluna like dominate, where he brick breaked his own Ursaluna to set up the weakness policy, and hyper voiced away a two shot a Hisui Arcanine, which is one of those things that like my Torkoal's Earth Power takes out Hisui Arcanine.
Mm-hmm.
So I know when
Yeah.
Ursaluna's Earth Power is going to do it, and it's just like really cool to see that type of innovation on teams. There was a Staraptor guy that someone sent me a picture of the dude. It was like, this looks like your long
Yeah.
lost brother, and it's just a white guy with a beard and long hair. I was like, I appreciate that. Shout out Azalite. But
No, Peter's honestly great though. He also brought Halucha way back. I don't remember the event, but he brought Halucha way back when. So honestly, always
I gotta meet
provides
this
some
guy.
really cool teams.
What's this guy's name?
Yeah.
Peter Chen, I believe,
Peter
right?
Chen.
Yeah.
Yep. Peter
Oh,
Chen
that's not.
with
I don't think it's Peter Chen. Is it Peter Chen?
Well,
Maybe.
that's the
He's a big
Staraptor
white
guy.
guy with a beard and long hair.
yeah. Peter
All
Chen
right, so it's
with
Peter Chen.
Staraptor.
All right.
It was Screamtail, Torkoal, Urshifu, Ursaluna, and Frigoraph.
Those are two teams I
Very
didn't
cool.
expect. I didn't expect to
Mhm.
see Final Gambit Staraptor. I didn't expect to
Yep.
see Weakness Policy Ursaluna. So I thought within the standard there were really cool adaptations that I didn't expect that I loved. I freaking loved them.
Mm-hmm. I just want to point out really quickly. I just want to talk a little bit about James's team because first of all, I have to make this joke before someone in the comments makes this joke. Is when I see James Beck, I immediately think of the season in 2019, and his entire core was Torn Ogre. You know, he would bring Tornadus Kyogre to every event, practically walked up to
Really?
Worlds with the same thing that everybody knew he was going to bring and got top 4, which is just incredible. But he just walks in again into Peoria with Torn Ogre. Just a different Ogre, but it's still Torn Ogre, okay? I had to say it.
Yep.
I had to say it. But no, I
Yep.
really do think it's a cool adaptation because the entire meta right now is really struggling to find these special attackers that are still really strong. And Goldengo, and James identifies this, is like, yeah, Goldengo is still an incredible piece. Okay, some people are struggling to make it work, but I'm just going to simply make it work. And then pairing it with double water, which is something I don't think we ever thought we'd see in this format, is honestly, I think it was a really innovative team. I know it's just like, you look at it, it's like, oh, it's Torn Ogre plus Intimidate plus Urshifu. Like, you know, it's not, doesn't seem like it's innovative, but with what everybody was expecting going into Peoria, oh, Urshifu usage going down, you know, Ogre Pond just shuts down Urshifu entirely. Goldengo's not really in a good spot right now. James is just like, nah, hold on a second. I'm just gonna walk in, Torn Ogre, Urshifu, and just win this game, and just win. And that's exactly what he did.
I got to interject about Goldengo quick, too. It's immune to over 1/3 of the moves in the game because you split them up into physical, special, status. It's immune to all the status moves. Take those out. X. Big X over those. Then you got all the normal and fighting moves, too. Big X over those. And poison. X. So it's just immune to over 1/3 of the moves in the game. And that's like, you could really take advantage of that. And pairing it with these mods, and let me check the OTS. He has Rain Dance on his Torn. Perfect. Get rid of the fire weakness.
Yep.
So it's like,
no,
he put
it's just
himself
a
up
really,
so well.
it's just a really well built team. And
Yeah.
James said, hey,
Yeah.
Goldengo is still good. Urshifu is still good. I don't think people are going to be respecting them going into this tournament. And it was just an incredible meta call piloted by an incredible player.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah. It's and say well, you touched on this, but there was a lot of after like Beast Coast and just like early on in the meta was like, oh, Urshifu usage is down, but there's four in the top 8. So clearly the top players were identifying, hey, this mon is still good. It's still here to stay. And it's interesting because there's four in the top 8, but then there's none 9 till 18. So um it's interesting how oh actually no, that's incorrect. There's one at 10, but only
Well,
one in that
that's a
span.
dark
So
Urshifu. It's different.
Okay. Yeah, so only one water shoe in that
Yeah.
whole stretch. So it's really interesting to see how certain players were like Urshifu's not in a good spot whatsoever, and others who were identifying it, wow, this is still a strong mon if it's built around the right comp. And it can definitely carry teams, and obviously we saw 2 in finals. Um the other thing I wanted to touch on is Ursaluna. There's 2 Ursalunas in top 8 with Justin Knox and Leonard Kraft, and those are the only 2 in the top 32,
Mm-hmm.
which is also super interesting. So Ursaluna, or Blood Moon at least.
Yeah.
So Ursaluna Blood Moon, only 2 in the top 32, and they're both in top 8, which is really interesting because I think there was a lot of questions about, okay, how good would this mon be? Kind of like Tommy was saying, doesn't have a huge, super strong ground move like like normal Ursaluna does with Headlong Rush. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have in Blood Moon you can't just keep spamming Blood Moon like you can with
Yeah.
Facade, Guts Facade with regular Ursaluna. But with the weakness policy and just Hyper Voice and being able to not have to predict those like go switch-ins that you have to do with Ursaluna and those ground weaknesses, you can just for Hyper Voices damage down, and it's still an insanely strong mon. And so props to Leonard Kraft and Justin Knox to kind of figure out a comp that worked. And also Justin Knox with the Okie Dogie, the only
Yeah.
one that I see
For a
in the
while.
top,
Yeah.
I don't even know,
Yep.
64 maybe. It's I don't think I see another one in the top
No,
64. So
it's a really cool mon, I think. Just I have some
yeah.
things to say on it, but I'll let you finish your statement.
I think like we saw a little bit in the grassroots like online tournaments and stuff where there were some people running like bulk upsets and stuff like that, but it was a kind of some things where like it felt like top players were testing it out. It wasn't like anyone was super committing to it and they couldn't tell if it was good or not. And I think a lot of people weren't confident enough to bring it to Peoria, but huge props to Justin Knox for figuring out a way to really make it viable and performing really well with it.
I really do agree with that, and it's one of those ones. It's a different take on a mon that people were trying to use in one way, right? People were like, "Oh, bulk up plus screens, it's really really cool," right? And it's working decently. Should I bring it? Should I not? But Justin's like, "Hold up a second. What if I slap an assault vest on this? Get my recovery from Clefairy, which is going to be clicking heal pulse.
Yep.
Have some sort of semi trick room mode, and then I think the setup for Igoraf I think is super underrated on Justin's team." Because normally I see a Farigiraf and I'm like, oh, they're gonna follow me Trick Room, and then I don't have to care necessarily about the Farigiraf as long as I'm not being swept by the partner, right? However, with that nasty plot, all of a sudden it's that extra element to that team that makes me care about that Farigiraf, that makes me care about everything else going on. It just forces so many different hands into so many different things that you just don't want to do what you necessarily need to do with that team. I think it was a really, really cool adaptation to the meta.
I want to speak about his fantasy football team too. I've been thinking about sending him a trade. Should we talk about it now, or want to do that after the pod?
We'll take that one offline. We'll take that one offline.
We'll
Okay.
take that. We'll take
Um,
fantasy offline.
Another one that I want to bring up quickly is look up Sinistra. I see one. The first one is at 20th.
20, yes.
So curious on your guys' thoughts on why that was the case, because I think seeing a lot of the online tournaments and a lot of ladder play, I was getting quite a bit of usage, especially after kind of Wolf had done really well with it, and I think people were, I think we talked a little bit about it last time on the pod, where it's a strong mon with Matcha Gotcha, Burn Chance, and that Trick Room, Rage Powder. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife. So curious on your thoughts on why that didn't perform well as it kind of seemed like it was going to.
I got a theory.
Go for it, Tommy. I've got my theory as well, so go ahead first. I'll jump in after, unless we're thinking the exact same thing. But
It has so many tools, but it's not slappable. You can't just like Flex Seal, slap it on a team and be like, I'm good. It has to have a specific team built around it, and it has to use the tools it's using specifically for that team. Like, because the Trick Room, the Life Do, the Hospitality, the this, the that, it gets a lot of cool stuff, but you got to use it correctly, and people are still figuring it out. It's still a new mon. So it's going to take a bit, but once someone figures out a really good team with it and shows like people how to pilot it correctly, I think this mon's going to be a menace, an absolute menace.
I'm inclined to agree, Tom, and I think you're right. People are definitely still figuring it out, and it definitely is better suited on teams where you know that you want the Sinistra on the team, right? You don't have a 5-mon team and go, oh, Sinistra, like you definitely, yeah. But like it definitely just still feels underwhelming to me, and maybe it's just me, but like. And like if you guys have like been fans of my channel and whatnot, and like you would have seen me, I've been using Sinistra for a little bit on the online tours, but like it doesn't feel right when I use it, and I don't know what that is, right? Is it too passive, right? It's really good at doing what it wants to do. The question is what
you got to figure out what you want it to do.
Is what it wants to do good enough for that to be worth a team slot for you, right? Obviously, I think there is definitely meta for it and room for it in the meta. It's just a matter of where am I going to find it and where are we going to see it moving forward.
I also think that there's so many other good options in Amoonguss, in Rillaboom, in Ogerpon 1, 2, 3, 4, that it will get lost in the sauce a bit early, but all it takes is one good team to show people like, oh, this thing has a specific role, and it does it super well because it gets a lot of tools.
I don't think people are relying on hospitality as much as they should be relying on hospitality. And like, you look at some of these teams, right? Like let's look at Bobby's team in 20th here. Urshifu, Arcanine, Hisui, Sinistra, Iron Hands, Champao, and Torn, right? That's just having a Sinistra mode on that team. Obviously, I don't have the open sheet. I probably could open it up, but like, actually, let me open it real quick. Let me be proper about this, okay? Let me be proper here, okay? See, like clear amulet, Iron Hands, very very cool. But I think like what they're not doing here, what I think that needs to start happening on these teams with it's actually heat proof Sinistra. That's actually really cool. That's actually kind of heat. Literally. Terra Steel heat proof, I think is kind of cool. And then it had Nasty Plot Shadow Ball. So I was about to say they're not using Sinistra properly. Like I feel like they could have leaned into like the hospitality a little more. But heat proof here is actually really, really cool. I kind of like that. Because like I do think that's
what I mean.
It's a different way to look at it.
It has so many tools.
It does. It really, really does. But like back to my point about leaning on the hospitality is you look at someone in 26 like Aaron Perez's team. And it's got the Komodo, it's got the Sinister, it's got that setup, similar like what Wolf had, right? That's where I think that hospitality really needs to shine. And you know, you lead something else, you get your setup off with your Komodo, you get the Clanger's Soul, you lose 33% of your health, you get your +1 in every stat, and in the next turn, maybe you protect and let something go down, or you just stay on the field, attack and switch in Sinister. All of a sudden, you're practically back to full health, right? And I think it's with those setup pieces that Sinister feels at home to me with that hospitality, and that's what I think needs to be leaned on a little bit more with that Sinister and the hospitality, because I feel like that's where it really shines, right? It shines by being a cool support piece, but also being able to heal up your setup partners immediately. That's where I think that niche lies over Amoonguss, right? Because Amoonguss is a nice support piece and it can heal up your setup mons, but Sinister has the ability to do that immediately and just pressure that being in the back without necessarily needing to be on the field to emit that pressure. And I think that's what needs to be seen a little bit more of with Sinister.
And it gets life dew. It gets strength sap. It gets so many ways to heal itself up too.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with Sinistcha's downfall. I hope it stays down. I am a Sinistcha hater, and I will continue to be a Sinistcha hater.
Dondozo user
Fighting
spotted.
words.
Dondozo user spotted.
Oh, it's a good counter to Dozo.
Dondozo user spotted.
Oh,
No, this is just your average Dondozo user, just totally unbiased. Talking about Sinistcha, but yeah, I hate that thing. But honestly, even when I'm facing it, it feels like if it doesn't get the burns, it's just a pretty underwhelming mon, and it's just not doing enough. And so a lot of times you're relying on, hey, I really hope I get a burn. I really hope I get a burn. And if you don't, you kind of feel gypped, and relying on that RNG for 15 rounds, 16 rounds, it's hard.
Exactly.
When that's what you're trying to get out of the mon. So, I agree. I think people are gonna figure out usage for it, and I think we'll see it more. I hope we don't, and I'd be happy with it just going away. But we'll see. We'll see.
Is it time, guys? Can I bring something up here that I really want to talk about?
We talked about this pre-show.
No, Tommy, this isn't even gonna be what I want to talk about. I want to bring up this Volbeat that's sitting in. Sorry, the Illumise that's sitting in 14th.
Yep.
Oh yeah, the Bug Boys.
The Bug Boys, let's go. But like,
so
honestly
Carson
though,
Comfort
it's cool. Carson
Sorry.
Comfort, Illumise, I believe Marcus Dion, and I'm not sure if there's anybody else that ran it as well.
Yep.
But Ogerpon Water, Fluttermane, Illumise, Iron Hands. I lost a team. Iron Hands, TU, and Landers, Therian. My brain just malfunctioned there. I'm sorry. I saw the Illumise and it was over. But no, it's one of those ones. It's like people joke about it a lot of the time, and it's what does it really necessarily do, right? Yeah, you get Tailwind, you get Encore, but I think its big thing is that Tailwind the Prankster Encore and Prankster Fake Tears. If you're making it through the first turn with this Illumise, right, the next turn, if they try to stop you, the first turn with like a Fake Out or something, if you don't die, next turn they're Encored into Fake Out. If they try to set up, they're Encored into their setup, right? That Prankster Encore puts on so much pressure. Oh, and then all of a sudden it's, did they not have... They didn't do any setup or anything like that. I can't encore anything. Let me just boost my Fluttermane and my Chiyu with a nice little Fake Tears here and just absolutely blow something up. It has that ability to do that, in which case I feel like it's a little bit more aggressive than Tornadus. However, Tornadus tends to be a little bit more consistent. But seeing Illumise make an appearance here with that Prankster, Encore, Prankster, Tailwind, Prankster, and Fake Tears is just really, really cool to see.
Before I was Tommy Trick Room, I used to love strategies like this, and like I would use Lipard specifically, and Lipard next to Kyogre was my favorite.
Okay.
Because I could reset the Rain Dance, I could Encore, I could Fake Tears, I could Fake Out, and I wouldn't even run an attack other than Fake Out, and I'd be good to go most of the time, just next to a Scarf Ogre.
Yep.
And I'm like, let's rip it. And like it's the same theory. It's just the best prankster utility mon, and I think you see more of those in draft leagues. But to see it shine in an actual VGC tournament is something really cool to me.
Agreed. Really, really do agree with that. I think it's really cool.
Another team that I feel like needs to be called out just because it's a couple things I want to call out. First is in 36th, Andy Anderson with one of the wildest 6 mons I've seen.
Slowbro?
Slowbro,
Slowbro?
Breloom, Salamence, Rock Ogerpon, King Gambit, Fluttermane. So really just leaned outside of the meta, completely outside of the box thinking, but super cool to be able to make day two with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then one that is close to my heart. So Dylan Calton, 28. He got 28th.
Mm-hmm.
He was playing 222 Dozo.
Yeah, he was,
Yep.
but he lost his
He's
He
dozo,
so
right?
lost
real.
his dozo,
He
didn't
lost
he?
his Dozo. He lost his
Yeah.
Dozo and still ended up finishing top 32
Mm-hmm.
with no Dozo and playing 222 with just Tatsugiri. That
Yeah.
is
So
incredible. That is
impressive.
next level, and I am just in awe of that because as a 222 player, that is very difficult,
Salute.
and I am very, very impressed.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about quickly about
Um,
Ogerpon, just in general, and
yep,
why I think it's on every single team. And I don't think
yep,
well, it's not on every single team. Let me just dial it back a little bit, but like it's on a lot of these
yep.
teams. Obviously, it's swept top eight and 8 for 8 in top eight. And then if you just keep scrolling down the list a little bit, it's there, right there, right. But like, I think it's, and I mentioned this a little bit in a couple of conversations I've had already. It's not that it's the best mon in the world. It's not that it's unbeatable. It's the fact that it can do so many different things by being so many different types as well, right? It is a very
Yeah.
slappable mon in terms of
Yeah.
simply just that. You know, oh, I need a setup mon. Ogerpon can set up. Oh, but it has to be a fire type. It can't be a water type. Well, too bad. Ogerpon can do that too. You know, it just comes around, has so many different sets, has so many different typings, so many different combinations that it can use. And just because of that, like, that's why it's on every team, right? Like, yes, the water Ogerpon is phenomenal. Yes, the fire Ogerpon is phenomenal. But it's the fact that you can just kind of, at the end of the day, say, hey, I have a 5-mon team here. And then you can just end it. And you know, you can just end it with a mon that really, it just allows you to fit whatever description you really necessarily need. Maybe I'm like giving it too much credit in that regard, but also Tommy, hold up, guys.
No,
I'm sorry. I'm looking at Tommy's webcam here for like the listeners, and this man just reached over onto his desk, grabbed 2 Armarouge plushies, and is just sitting there with like the biggest grin you could imagine. And like, I, I am,
Because
go
I,
ahead,
Ogerpon's
Tommy.
usage. Get rid of Chi-Yu. Get rid of Heatran. Get rid of Rillaboom. Get rid of Amoonguss. Helping Hand Expanding Force gets rid of Ogerpon. Side spam's in the best spot it's ever been in because of what you're saying about Ogerpon right now.
Okay, well, so let's switch to that in a minute when we start to talk Beast Coast because Tommy's got a lot to say about Psy Spam, and I think we're gonna have a big Psy Spam debate. So stay tuned for that in like 2 minutes. But
yo,
quickly
structured
wanted to
debate.
touch on the Ogerpon debate is it's interesting to see the war between the water Ogerpon and the fire Ogerpons because there's a pretty healthy
Yes.
mix between the
Yes.
two, and it's very much a defensive Ogerpon versus an offensive, and also interesting sets on a lot of them. We saw Power Whip on James Beck's
Mm-hmm.
Ogerpon, I believe, which is I don't think I've seen anyone run Power Whip because it gets 100% accurate grass moves, but it's a balance between that power and not having that recoil of wood hammers, stuff like that. So that was really interesting. And then I think saw some focus energy, and
Yep, for some
there's
for the
been
Ivy Cudgels.
sword stance Ogerpons everywhere, but focus energy is a really cool
Mm-hmm.
adaptation because Ivy Cudgel has a higher crit chance
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so that's something that I could see being something that sticks around. I'm not sure about Power Whip because I think people are gonna get frustrated
I,
with like accuracy. I think
85, right?
focus energy is
I
a really
think that
cool
was a
adaptation.
meta call from James. And I think it was
Yeah.
a very, very strong meta call from James. Because, like you said at the beginning of your statement there, Conk, when you said water versus fire, you also said passive versus offensive, right? Or defensive versus offensive. And I think having that offensive water variant made it so a lot of people didn't expect it. Like, oh, my water matchup, my water ogre matchup is fine. You know, I can eat a horn leech. I'm calced to live a horn leech, right? But James being on
Right.
the more offensive end with that power whip probably took a lot of KOs that people just weren't expecting to have to be able to take, right? Oh, I can eat a horn leech, then I can kill it back. It's perfectly fine. All of a sudden, it's power whip. Your entire game plan has to go out the window, right? It's it's why I don't necessarily like calling them offensive versus defensive. Obviously, by nature they are, but I think there's definitely
Right.
different ways to play that water one that allow it, in my opinion, to be the more versatile one, to be the one I've actually enjoyed using a little bit more.
I've been peeping
Yeah.
that. You've been using it to success and like having fun with it.
I just like going bonk every time I hit someone with Ivy Cudgel.
Love it, love it. All right, well, now let's transition a little bit to the Beast Coast event. So we kind of talked about this on the pod last time, where we recorded before the Beast Coast event, but the East Coast group with Wolf, James Beck, Cybertron, they all hosted a tournament in Brooklyn a couple weeks back now, and a lot of people, especially a lot of content creators, were there, and a bunch of high-level players were there. And our very own Tommy Trick Room was 7-0 in day one and was the first seed going into day two, which was awesome.
Crazy.
And had a awesome win on stream and shouted out the pod. So love that. But
Yeah.
I mean, I'll hand it over to you and kind of take it wherever you want and talk about the day.
Sorry, Tommy. I just
So
remember
yeah,
that you were
let's talk
just.
about
Can I cut you off? Sorry. You were just like,
yeah.
hey, do you mind if I shout out my podcast to Chilling Neigh? And you just accidentally shouted it out before they even gave you permission to shout out. You're like, it doesn't matter now. I just did.
I was like, I was gonna ask for forgiveness, not permission anyway, and I got a cheap
Love
laugh.
it. Love it. Love
Anyways,
it.
go ahead, Tommy. Let's hear it.
So yeah, no, I was in the freaking zone, man. So I want to talk about mentality too. I did not care how I did at all. There was, in my mind, not much on the line. Again, we talked about like, I, I go into tournaments hoping to get points. There were no points here, and I was like, all right, let's just hope I do well and let's see how I do. And I started 1-0 and then 2-0, and then yeah, there was some drinks flowing. There was so everyone was chilling. It was a more lax environment. I'm outside. I'm like, yeah, give me two of those. I'm just feeling it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, just not giving a care in the world. And round 3, I get pulled up on stream. I played Joe in the Urshifu and DD mode. Was awesome. Then, what's it called? Like, I really highlighted the strength of that and Ursaluna. I felt like I was like, you know what? He could switch into Crest here on the Iron Hands. I don't think or on the Arcanine. You know what? Let's just go for it. If he does, he does. We'll have to deal with Crest anyway, but I think it's worth it if he doesn't to take it out. And then I take out his Iron Hands, and like game 2 really just was awesome. Then the next round I played Luca Paz, and he is an incredible player, man. Me and him played 3 really close games. I ended up out on top real close. Then I play Judy, and like we both got drinks on the table. We sit down, it's just like a chill ass environment, and we're at table 1, and I ended up beating him 2-0. I was like, oh my god. And then Justin Tang's the next one. And I'm like, I know I got to play like Justin, Jacob, or one other person was XO at that point. And Justin's game was really, really close. Game 3, I got a critical hit that like sealed it up for me. And he's like, I think that crit did it. I was like, I think that crit did it. And like,
Yep.
It was crazy. Because then I'm going into the 6-0 match with the guy I carpool with to every local, Jacob Mortensen. Shout out PokemonVGC, the YouTuber. And he made a recap video of his day too. He's an amazing person. He's part of the carpool crew with me and Chuppa. Me, Chuppa, and him walk into events, and people are like shaking in their boots. They don't want to see us 3 walk in. And he was able to get top 8. And it was just such an amazing day. I was really mentally burnt out though. Like day 2, I was mentally drained. I was like, oh my god. So then round 1, I go into Brian Yum, and he gamed on me. He's like, yeah, I had a game plan for you. I had like spreadsheets. I know my trick room size spam mode. Like, I know how to handle your team. It's like it shows. Then I play a rematch versus Jacob, and he goes over it in his recap too, but he got so many rock slide flinches the turn I said trick room. And it was just like, I can't get back from that. Like, he was just like a Moongus rock slide. He can't trick room and wide guard the same turn.
Yep.
Like he's just he had it. He was like, I know I have to do that. Maybe I should have led Hattering, but I was Life Orb, not Covert Cloak at the time too. So I was just terrified of flinches. I said I'd rather tear my armor into a grass type, eat the rock slide, and just hope I don't flinch. And game 2 and 3 I flinched. Then I had a Joe rematch round 3. And after I beat Joe game 1, and I was like, I think I just have a really good matchup. And game 2, Joe adjusted well and again just got me. I was hovering over the right move and didn't click it too. I was like, do I click wide guard here? I think it's too passive. You know what? Let me not click wide guard. I click wide guard, I win, I think. And it's just another like, man. Then I play Luca Paz in another 3 game sets, but it's like, oh my god, me and him are duking it out again. Or I think I played Luca before Joe. and Joe was like, if I lose this, I'm out of the top 8. And it was just devastating to see how my day went day 2 compared to day 1. And then
Mhm.
by the time I was 0-4, my round 5, I was just like, all right, whatever. Let me see who I pull. And it was an Ursaluna Chi-Yu Crest matchup with an Assault Vest Iron Hands. I was just like, all right, let's try to bulk them out. Let's just try to position well. And they outplayed me. Shout out Tim Edwards. So 0-5 in day 2 was really not where I wanted to go. But the caliber of players I was playing, I was
Mhm.
just so impressed with my play day 1. I am so proud of myself for like proving I could beat anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I did it with Psy Spam, and I'm just like so proud. And thank you guys for letting me talk about the Beast Coast little recap. I'm glad I got to shout out the pod too. But because of what Ryan was saying, I think Armirage and Indeedee are in the best place they've ever been,
And
because
Tommy,
a lot of my problem matchups have went away,
yeah,
or a lot of my problem matchups have been fixed by that Ursaluna that Jesse, like Jesse's version of the Psy Spam team really covers a lot of holes. I don't know if he's
mhm.
running that in Toronto, but 'cause I know he builds a lot. He's like a really innovative player. But I think Psy Spam really is in the best spot it's ever been in, because if you get the terrain control, I'm actually running manual terrain on my Hatterene again now. So I have the covert cloak. He can't fake me out. I get the terrain back up, and then I could expanding force with armor rush if he can't fake out me. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's a really, I think, in the best spot it's been in ever because of the ogre pawns.
No, I'm inclined to agree. Side spam is definitely really good right now, Tommy. And I told you earlier that I was gonna trash side spam on this
Yeah, you
episode.
did. I'm excited for it. I'm
And
ready to go. I got my warriors.
here's the thing. I once again, if you are playing side spam, no disrespect to you as a player, but I cannot stand this side spam team. Now, to me, it just feels very polarizing. Now, Tommy, you play the team. Maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. But every time
I've
I
been playing
try
since
to
San
run
Diego.
side spam, okay, it feels incredibly polarizing. Like I'm either going to look at team preview and go, yes, this is how I'm going to get this going. As long as I can get this up, oh, it looks pretty good that I can do it, I'm winning this game. Or I'm going to look at the matchup and I'm going to go, okay, I really am going to struggle trying to get Trick Room up here, and it feels almost
Yep.
lost in team preview. Now, maybe I'm
Yes.
analyzing this incorrectly, but I feel like that is the reason I really dog on side spam, right? That's why I don't like this team, and that's why I don't think it's a very strong option into these 9 round tournaments, into these longer tournaments, and only
Yeah.
because, like, once you realize what's in front of you, like, it could realistically end it. Like, as a balanced player, right? For me, it's how do I adapt, right? And Tommy, you said you played the likes of like Joe, Luca Paz, right? Like,
I played 3 rematches day 2,
right.
and 2 Luca Paz, Joe, and Jacob
Right.
Borgenson,
And they
all
all
strong
and
players.
they all got you into run back because they were able to make the
Yeah,
adjustment that they needed to make. Not saying that you didn't have
exactly.
adjustments you could have made as well to win those games, because obviously, like you were saying, you were in those games still, right? But
Yeah.
I just feel like going into these longer tournaments and these bigger events where I'm going to go in and people are going to try and innovate the meta. People are going to try and bring things that I'm not necessarily going to see, because when I prep for a regional, I prep for the common teams, right? And you go in and you play what, three, maybe four of them on the first day. You don't see them all, right? And that's where I feel like having those polarizing matchups with a team like Spam just doesn't feel good to me. You know, I want to have that team that's going to be able to give me a chance that I can say, hey, my team has the tools. I just got to figure it out. I want to be able to have that team, right? Whereas if I have the Trick Room team, it's like if I can't get Trick Room up, it's over for me. You know, I don't like having that. It's obviously there's something to be said for it, because you have those matchups where you're just like, yep, I'm gonna kick back, I'm gonna relax, I'm gonna just take my
I
dub,
turn my brain off.
right?
It's not a good strat. Yeah, I can't. I
Right.
gotta stop turning my brain off.
I think there's stuff to be said both ways for it, but I am not a huge fan of Psy Spam, and I think the moment people start respecting it again, it's going to fall off again. But that's just me. Conk, you've got any thoughts on this?
Uh, yeah, actually, I think it's funny because I agree with both of you in some sense.
That's
So
dope.
I think that earlier on, and like when the Beast Coast event was coming up, like I do think Spam was actually in a really good spot,
Mm-hmm.
and like it was showing, and like there was a bunch of online tours, and I was facing them in like finals and stuff like that. Like people were playing well with Spam, but then I think very own Tommy put everyone on alert after going 7-0 on day one of Beast Coast, because I think after that people started running Ice Spinner on Qianpao, and people started prepping a little bit more for Psy Spam. I think because of that, it's gotten worse. And I don't know if it's been the best spot it's ever been in, because I think like there are some troubles with Rillaboom changing terrain, stuff like that. But um, I think like with Ting Lu not being
Yeah.
around at all, which was
We don't
like
say
pretty
his
much a
name.
Psy in itself. Um, I think it's definitely something that's very viable. It's just any Trick Room team, it's tough if you don't get Trick Room up. Like if it's a hard Trick Room team,
Yeah.
and like I've played hard Trick Room and I've done well with it, and I've done poorly with it, and um, I think like I've had a lot of those frustrations where it's like, okay, you get double rock slide flinch turn one, and you
Hmm.
kind of just lose the game from there, and it's frustrating to lose a game on like turn one like that, or certain things if you don't pick up. If something lives on 1 HP and you don't pick up KOs fast enough, Trick Room can be really
That's how I lost a
difficult.
PC. I lost a PC
Yeah,
because an Iron Hands lived on 15 HP. I needed a helping hand, and I didn't.
yeah,
And I was like, I looked up the calc after. I only had a 25% chance to KO, where I thought it was like a higher percent. So I got the calc wrong
yeah,
too. And if I helping hand, it's 100%. But that
Yeah.
type of stuff happens with Trick Room.
Yep.
Like I got second in the PC because of it. I
Yep.
lost a big Cubone.
Yeah. It happens.
yeah.
I don't think it's a bad team. I just don't think it's the team I would ever want to be bringing to a larger event, just based on how polarizing it can be. But hey, you know what? It's working. If it works and
Dude,
it works, it works.
Pittsburgh, I got by Specs Gastrodon because the Earth Power Ice Beam was able to KO Armorage as a grass type or a fire type, and slower than me in Trick Room. It was just like, I was like, wait a second, I can't set Trick Room. Oh, I need Trick Room for the rest of the team. Specs
And
Gastrodon
and
is my
that's
torture
but
chamber.
that's exactly what I was saying, Tommy, when I said you're not
Yeah.
going to play these teams that you've prepped for at these tournaments, right? You pulled Specs
Yep.
Gastro. I'm going to be honest, even after seeing you play Specs Gastro, I am not going to prep for Specs Gastrodon going into the Toronto weekend.
Yeah,
I'm not prepping for
No,
that.
you shouldn't.
But I like
You
having
shouldn't.
teams that should be able to pull out of that after I realize what's going on in game 1. And I feel that, like I said, in those polarizing teams that you pilot in this Psy Spam, it's one of those ones where all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I've really got nothing here, and that's what I don't like about
Oh
it.
yeah.
But it is what it is.
I just love that our viewers have a chance to listen to three people that are patrons for three different archetypes, with Tommy Trick Room, with Sable Eye Balance, and
I
Conkle Dozo
and I think
over
it's
here.
really
So
It's the
interesting
Choo
because
Choos
we
though.
all think about the game differently too, right? It's not like we
100%.
just play three different archetypes. Like we are all
right,
approaching this game very, very differently, I think, and I think that's really, really
absolutely,
cool.
But
absolutely,
Conk dips his
absolutely.
toes in the Trick Room waters.
Yeah, he
I
Conk's
do,
a
does.
I
Trick
do.
Room
I go.
player. Yeah.
I have a very toxic relationship with Trick Room, where
Good.
go to Trick Room, especially early formats. I'm like, I want to play Trick Room, and then I play it for a while, and then I always get close to where I want to be, but then get the frustrating losses. Like I can't do this again, and then switch to something else, or bulky offense, or
Yeah,
Dozo
just
in
go back
Scarlet
to
You
Violet
know what
Dozo.
stuff.
looks
He
good
just goes
again?
back to
And
Dozo
then
and
Trick
starts
Room
And
winning
I'll come
always
three.
back to Trick
Go
Room, and I'm like, I
goes
love
back
Trick
to
Room, and then
Dozo, wins
so
like three tournaments a week, calls it a day.
yeah. So I do love me some Trick Room. It's what I first kind of got into VGC with, is
Hmm.
watching Wolf play Trick Room with Dustclops. So I always,
Yep.
and obviously my favorite mon is Conkeldurr, so Trick Room always has a place in my heart. But I am not a Trick Room player right now, at
And,
least.
and Conk, I
So
think you bring up a very good point. Sorry to cut you off, but when you
yeah,
said you got into the game with Trick Room, and it's similar because Tommy's been going around saying if you're trying to get into the game, try Trick Room, right? And you just said you got into the
yeah,
game with Trick Room, and I think that goes to show that when you're getting into the game, it's really, I don't want to say easy because obviously starting a new game and starting VTC is not like the easiest thing, but it does get nice.
right,
There are things that make your transition into VTC nice and easy, and playing a team with a purpose, like a straightforward
yep,
purpose, and this is my game plan, allows you to start analyzing things and seeing the game how it's kind of meant to be played, and seeing like, okay,
hmm,
yeah, I've got a game one, you go in, this is my game plan, I'm going to try and do this, and then I just have to adapt and make sure I can find a way to do exactly what I need to do. And that's such a good way to learn the game that I think it's a very smart way to start the game, but I don't know if it's necessarily the only way to play. I don't know how to word. I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just kind of talking.
yeah. No, it's a
Clip
good
that.
intro
Clip
archetype,
that.
but it's also
That's a clip we should tweet out. Flip that. Write down the timestamp. That's a great little. I loved that soliloquy. I loved it. I think everything you said was poignant and on point.
I feel like we should clip that. Just
Yeah, I'm gonna
Tommy
clip
going
that
off.
part. I'm gonna clip Tommy freaking out.
Yeah.
Not the part that
No
I said. I'm gonna
context,
clip
I
Tommy
want people
freaking
to
out.
know- I think that's gonna be the clip. All
We clip
right,
both?
love that. Well, for the sake of time, I want to move us
Yes,
along a little
agreed,
bit.
agreed.
So, we'll come back to Sacramento kind of preview at the end. So I want to switch us to a game. So, returning game of the usage stats. So we just had Peoria, and Tommy is our reigning champion for guessing the mons and the usage numbers. So we have to come up with a name for this game.
Yeah.
But
The
since
usage
Tommy was a
stat
winner,
numbers. Let's add more words to this title game.
love it, love it. So now I will be competing against Tommy. Sableye I haven't seen any of the usage numbers. Tommy hasn't either. So
I've got
Take
it
it away.
No
up,
one tweeted
guys.
them out either.
I feel like this game kind of dragged out a little bit last time, so I am gonna try and just keep the pace going along. But just a quick refresher for anybody who may have missed it last time. I have the image of the top 12 Pokemon from day 1. I'm going to specify day 1 in front of me here. I am looking for the Pokemon, and I am looking for their usage stat within 2%. So that's what I'm looking for here. If I'm going to, you and Tommy and Conk, you guys can figure out what who goes first. But basically, someone's going to go pick something. If they don't get it right, it hands off to the next person to either steal the point for the usage stat or just switches over to their turn if they didn't get the Pokemon right at all.
okay, cool.
Conklin, you can go
Sableye,
first.
okay, I was gonna. Okay,
Honestly,
cool,
that's
cool.
fair, though. Challenger goes first. I think that actually...
Yeah.
All right,
That's
I'll
probably
go
fair.
Ogerpon. So
I need
is
you to
Ogerpon-
specify Ogerpon. They are separated, so I do need
Okay,
you
I
to
was gonna
specify
say, was
Ogerpon.
it separated? Okay, I'll say Ogerpon water.
Okay? That is good for a point.
Okay, and then I'll say 35% usage.
That is incorrect. Tommy?
I feel like that was low. I think I should have guessed higher.
I was actually gonna go lower.
I don't know, honestly. I don't actually. Water Ogerpon
Wrong.
may be lower. I don't know.
So it's within 2 points. So that means it's not 33 and it's not 37. I'm gonna go 30.
That would also be incorrect, Tommy. And
Okay.
that
What
is
was
going to be Ogerpon water in the 8th most used slot at 22%.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna go lower.
22.1% would be that.
Okay, okay.
That was Tommy's chance to steal, so it goes back to Tommy, right? That's how that works?
Yep.
All right, Tommy, hit me
So
up with
I'm
a
gonna go
Pokemon.
Ogerpon Fire.
Ogerpon fire is correct.
I'm gonna say 30% again.
30% would be incorrect.
Oh,
Okay, I'll say 7.
Wait, what did you say? I cut out.
7?
27%.
Oh,
27.
27.
27?
Yep.
27 would be incorrect. You are looking at Ogerpon Fire sitting in the 4th most used, and it is at 34.6.
Okay.
Oh, I should have went 32. I should have went 32.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
was thinking
Conqueror
of
up.
going higher.
Go on,
Okay.
go for it.
All right, Fluttermane.
Fluttermane is good.
Okay. And I'll say, I'll say 40. No, I'll say 50% usage.
50% will be good. It is sitting at 51.3% as the 2nd most used mod. So Conk is
Let's
currently up
go.
3-1. Tommy, go
Wait,
for it.
what was its use? What was its number of used? Like the 4th or
It was
it was
second.
3rd or 1st?
It was second at 51.3.
Okay. So I'm up. I'm gonna go Landorus T,
That is correct.
and I'm gonna go 52%.
That would be incorrect, Tommy.
What did you guess?
52. I guess I thought it was gonna be the most
52?
used.
Okay, I'll guess 38.
38 would also be incorrect. It is the 3rd most used Pokemon at 45.8 coming out of day 1.
Okay.
It did jump to
Okay.
61%, becoming the most used in day 2, but that's another story. Anyways,
wow.
Conk, back
Okay.
to you, I believe, right?
Yeah, I guess Lando.
Okay, I'll go Urshifu Water.
Urshifu, I'm assuming that is water. I don't know. They don't have different sprites, right? I believe it's water.
No way dark is in the
No way
top
dark
12.
is
There's
that
no
high.
way.
So I'm going under the impression that water is good and water will be correct for you.
Okay. I'll say 27.
27 would be
Can I use it?
incorrect.
I'm going 20%.
Tommy is good with 20%. It is the 9th most used mon at 20.3%.
Okay.
Can we get a score update?
Score update is 4-3 for Conk. Tommy, you are obviously the hammer in this game, so go for it. Chance to take the lead. He's too good, eh, Conk?
Rillaboom.
Rillaboom is good.
Oh. I don't know. I didn't think of that.
Rillaboom is good to tie the game. Tommy, can you take the lead with the percentage?
25%.
What was the question? What did you say?
Can I change it actually?
No, I want to know what you. You can't change it, but what did you say?
I said 25.
You
I
said
said 25.
You said 25. I will tell you right now, the usage is sitting at 23.2. You are good for the lead.
No, you should have changed it.
You should have let him change it, Conk. You should have let him change it.
I did it to myself. I did it
But
to
anyways, like I
myself.
said, Rill is sitting at 6th in the usage stat at 23. Conk, your chance to
Okay.
take the lead back.
Okay. I'll go Iron Hands.
Iron Hands is good.
I'll say at 53.
Iron Hands at 53 will put you back in the lead. The correct usage is 53.3% as the number 1 used
Oh,
mon
wow.
throughout day 1.
Yep.
Okay, Tommy, back to you. This is a back and forth game, guys. We got a good one.
Yeah, we got a good one.
Give me Chi-Yu.
Chiyu is going to be good enough to sneak onto the field.
He's
Give
good.
me 18%.
I think Tommy looked at these numbers, man. That's dead on. 18.1%.
Gonna guess 18 too, actually. That's so funny.
Y'all are cracked. What's
Well-
going on here?
Well, no, because Urshifu is 9th at 20%. So I was like, it's got to be lower than Urshifu, but how much lower can it
That,
be?
honestly,
And what did you say?
Tommy's too good at this game, guys. Tommy's too good.
So I'm at 7 points now,
Hey,
but what
it's
was
not
the
over yet.
usage
It's not
number?
over yet.
It is 7-6 for Tommy. Conk, back to you.
No, but
So
what is
was the
it
Uh,
was
the
10th or
standing
11th.
and
it was
what
10th. Chiyu was 10th at 18.1.
So we're
Okay.
missing the 5th most used mon, the 7th most used mon, the 11th and the 12th.
5, 7, 11, 12,
Yeah.
yes.
5, 7, 11, 12 is what we're missing.
Yep. Conk, go for it.
Okay. I will say. Starting to.
I don't have any more
not-
mons on my list that I pre-wrote down either.
Yeah, like now the. Okay, I'm gonna go Hisuian Arcanine.
Hisuian Arcanine will be incorrect. And now we go to Tommy with the biggest chance to start pulling away from this game. Tommy, what do you got for me, bud?
Oh no. Oh no.
Thank you.
Give me Tornadus.
Torn will be correct.
I was gonna guess Torn, but
I would
didn't
ask for
think
the
it'd be
form, but
that.
I think we all know what form you want. So
Yeah.
I actually don't know which form is which, to be
yeah,
honest. So
we
good
all
thing
know
you're not
which one
asking
you
me for
want,
form.
so it's fine.
Give me. I'm gonna say 20%.
20% will be incorrect. Conk, your chance to stay in this game.
Okay, Torn. I'm gonna go 16%.
You say 16?
Yeah.
That is also incorrect. You guys are seriously underestimating how much people actually enjoy bringing this Pokemon to regionals. It was actually the 5th
Yeah.
most used at 28%. But Conk, back to you to try and tie the game.
Okay.
Wait, I thought he only has 6 points and I have 8.
It's
Oh,
8-6, so you can tie the game if he gets 2 points.
You're right, I
Okay.
can't do math.
Did people bring Amoonguss?
Amoonguss will be incorrect again. So Conk with 2 swings and 2 misses. Tommy, back to
Oh.
you.
Give me Heatran.
Heatran will be good.
Yeah.
Tommy trying to
Okay.
pull away. Tommy's trying to solidify the W.
I know.
Give me. Oh, 20%.
20% will be incorrect. Conk, your chance to stay in this
Okay.
game.
16%.
16.7% will be the correct number.
Let's
Conk
go.
is going to stay in the game. The score is currently 9-7, going back to Conk. Conk, what do you got for me here?
So was he trying 11th or 12th?
11th. He trained with 11th.
Okay. Oh man.
You are missing number
Um,
7 and number 12, just as a refresher.
Yep, number
So
7.
Conk,
number 12.
I think you
I
need
thought it was
these
gonna be
points.
7.
I don't want to. I don't
I
want to
thought-
say you need these points, but I think you need these points.
okay. I'm gonna guess. Sinistra?
Sinistra is incorrect, Conk. I am sorry. Tommy, what do you got for me?
Man.
Their chance to almost
God, now
to
I'm starting
basically
to blank.
secure the
Now-
W.
This is the hardest one yet though.
This is where it gets hard.
I would have guessed Amoongus here, if Conk hadn't already guessed Amoongus.
Yeah.
Tommy's looking at his
Oh
plushes.
God. Yeah, I'm looking at my plushies. I'm like, no one's bringing Glastrier. No one's bringing Hariyama or Blaziken or Armorage.
I need a name, Tommy.
Oh no. All right, give me. I'm trying to think of who is annoying to play in my tours or who I see a lot. Give me King Gambit.
See, now King Gambit is an incredible guess, but it will also be incorrect. Conk, back to you. You got to stay in this
wow.
game, buddy. You got to stay in the game.
Man, King Gambit was probably a better guess than I have.
Guys, come on. You guys got to get this one, guys. Come on. You guys are killing me.
What am I missing here? Flutter, Chiyu. Oh, Chien-Pao.
Shenpao will be correct. Tommy, do you want to? Sorry, Conk,
Okay.
do you want to give me a
Yeah.
percentage
I'll say
to tie the game?
23.
23 is not correct, but it is going to be good enough between the 2%. So you are at
go.
22.1.
Wait, that is correct then.
Well, it's not dead on. Everybody, you guys have been getting it dead on. I wanted to specify. He's good. It's 22.1%, sitting at 7th.
Okay.
And that
So now we're
ties
tied?
the game at 9 with one Pokemon left on the board. Tom,
Oh, man.
give it a
Okay.
shot. If you get this, you
I
win.
have.
You
Give
are
me
looking-
Dragonite.
You say Dragonite?
Yeah.
That is not correct, Tom. Conk, back to you, bud.
Oh, man, what is this mod? This is what happened last time too, where we were just stuck on the
Yeah.
12th one. Okay. Yu, Fluttermane, Chien-Pao, no, Tinglu or Wo-Chien. Dozo's definitely not that high. Jeez, no Intimidate user. Man. This is so tough.
Need an answer, Conk. Need an answer.
Give me Urshifu Dark.
Urshifu Dark is incorrect. If Tommy cannot get it here, we will play the buzzer beater of whoever guesses it from my hints first. But Tommy, you went second. Here's your chance to seal the game if you can get the last Pokemon and its percentage.
Yeah. Oh God. Not Lando. It's not Flutter. It's not Chiyu. It's not Ogerpon Water or Fire. Not Ogerpon Grass. It's not Rillaboom. Cresselia.
Tommy, you say Cresselia. Cresselia
Yeah.
will be good for your 10th point. Now, to secure the win without Conk taking it back and tying this game, I need your percentage.
13%.
You said what?
14%.
You're saying
14.
14%. 14% will be good to seal the game with 11 points. The correct answer is Cresselia, sitting in 12th at 13.4% usage. Tommy, the two-time
game.
reigning champ. Conk, don't feel bad. You did better than I did.
I take
that was a good game.
extensive
That was a good
notes
game.
too. I don't know how you guys aren't taking notes on this for the percentages.
I am. I am.
No,
Don't
I
worry.
took some notes. I took notes this time.
Okay,
Yeah.
you took some notes. You didn't look like you did.
No, I was ahead of my laptop, so I was like, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
keeping track. I was keeping
He's
track.
Conk is so good at taking notes, you don't even notice he's taking notes. He's out there plotting. He's already plotting his
I was
revenge for the
looking.
next
I
day.
was
I'm
like,
good at taking notes. I couldn't think of Mons though. I couldn't think of anything.
well, I see. I pre-wrote down some mons too. I was like, all right, let me try to write down because I remember last time I started blanking at like the 7th or 8th.
Yeah,
guess.
no, but honestly, that's like
Yeah.
one of the most difficult spots, right? Because it's like, what do you do after? Because like, you think you know the meta, and then all of a sudden you're here and you're just like, yeah, I got nothing. I have no clue what's happening.
Yep.
I started going
Yep.
through the types in my head. I was like, it's not fire, it's not water, it's not
Mhm.
grass, it's not. And then I got to psychic.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
surprised Cresselia actually snuck on. I'll be honest.
Me too, honestly. But that's
Well,
a good
once
one.
we
That's a good
got
one.
past Hisuian Arcanine, Amoonguss, Sinestro, Gambit, Dragonite, and Urshifu Dark, I said, I think it's got to be there, right? Because that's like in
Yeah.
that category of mons, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, we're coming up on our time here, but we have Sacramento this weekend. I will be there, so kind of booked it last minute, but I will be seeing you all there, so I'm super excited. So if
If you-
you see
yep.
me, please come say hi.
If-
So
Mhm.
please come
Nay
see
at
me.
him. Nay. Just do something weird to him. Make him feel uncomfortable in public.
Also, if you guys are watching on YouTube, in the comments down below, please put hashtag Let's Go Conk in the comments.
Yes,
That'll be cool.
let's go
Love
Conk.
to see that. Let's go Conk.
Love
But
that.
honestly, you know what? I think the best way to quickly wrap up as a Sacramento preview is honestly for each of us to kind of name one prediction of a Pokemon that is going to make an appearance, like a big showcase at Sacramento.
Okay. Do you want to start?
No, I don't know a Pokemon.
Okay,
I think
well,
Urshifu
I'll
Dark's gonna make a
say
big
that
statement. I think Urshifu Dark. That's my guess.
Urshifu Dark.
Okay.
Well, I'm hoping that it's Dozo by me,
Okay.
but
Yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be awesome.
I think that I think that Gambit will see a rise in usage now that Luca's done well with it. And I've been seeing it pop up a little bit, so I think Gambit will have more usage than I think people are expecting.
Gambit represent. I love Gambit. That was actually going to be my thing as I was sitting here thinking about it. I'm going to shift gears though. I'm actually going to go and I'm going to shift gears. I'm going to say Baxcalibur. And
Ooh.
I think Baxcalibur right
In
now is a nice
usage
little
or-
anti-meta mon. Right now it's being run with
Okay.
screens. I think there's a chance. I think there's openings for Baxcalibur to have a big day in Sacramento. I think it's definitely an option.
You think volume
Cool.
or like high standing by one or two players?
I don't know about volume, but I could definitely see it getting a really good result. A couple really good results,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah. See, that's what I was
Well-
thinking too. I don't think it'll make the list for the next time when
Keep
you
us
play me.
accountable on yeah. Keep us accountable on Twitter and on our pod. We'll kind of revisit and see how right or wrong we are. I think Sable is our current prediction guru over here, being able to get everything
Oh,
right.
yeah.
So we'll see. But all right, we'll hope to see some of you in Sacramento. Otherwise, we will catch you guys in 2 weeks. So everyone, bye.
Thanks all for listening, guys.
Love you.